And staying with Iran then, today marks exactly 3 months since the United States and Israel killed the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, heralding the start of this conflict. To help us then understand where Iran is 3 months into the war, Ahou Koutchesfahani joins me live on the programme. She's a scholar who focuses on Iran and its international relations. She joins us now from London. Hello to you and thanks for speaking to us on the programme.
Hello, thank you for having me.
First of all, look, how do you assess the Iranian state's strength or relative weakness after 3 months of this war?
So, ideologically, it has been able to maintain its strength through, keeping its base of support intact, really. But I also want to touch on what you said about, the 3 months of war. It's been 3 months that the internet was shut down, and it only reemerged 2 days ago after 88 days of a total internet blackout on Iran. And so that also helped the regime to establish a control over its image that it publicized internationally. So there's an ideological strength that the war has only helped it to strengthen. And of course, the excuse of having shut the internet for quote unquote security reasons has helped it to control the narrative on social media as well. To portray a strong image.
Yeah, and why do you think then the Iranian authorities did decide this week to partially turn the internet back on? Is that a sign of sort of confidence from the Iranian authorities?
It could be seen. Some people argue it is a sign of confidence, but I believe that it's also got to do with the fact that the country is under dire economic strains, right? So the internet was, of course, also a lifeline for many Iranians, specifically women, business owners, disabled business owners, and again, business owners, but from more rural parts of the country who relied on social media as their main source of income, for their small businesses. So I believe that it's more to do with the heightened economic strains on the population that forced the regime to, open access. And it's not even that it's opened the internet. Everyone is calling it the filter net, right? We've gone back to the way it was before the war started, with, again, a more filtered internet even from before the war. But still, the VPNs that people would use to access websites from, international websites, they can still use those, which is at least something, right?
And what about politically with Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Ali Khamenei, ostensibly the Iranian leader, the supreme leader, even though we believe he's been badly injured. There's been quite a bit of reporting suggesting that actually, in an ideological sense, he is a more extreme figure than his father. Do you think that's true? And if so, look, is there an irony here that the Americans and the Israelis began this war because they wanted to, we think, topple the Iranian regime, and instead we have a more hostile figure at the top of government in the form of Mojtaba Khamenei?
Well, I don't know if you've seen the report that came out just last week that actually the plan of the US and Israeli strikes on Iran was to reinstill former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was an extremely problematic figure in Iranian politics. He was disparaging and a populist, and sort of even went to the UN to vilify, Israel, which no former president of Iran under the Islamic Republic had done up until that point. So, this is an indication to tell you of just what went on behind the scenes when the joint US-Israeli campaign to bomb Iran started. So it does leave a question as to what really is the point of these strikes. It seems as though it was indeed to bring in a more a more hostile, a more extremist head of state in Iran.
And look, just on that reporting about Mahmoud Ahmadinejad last week by the New York Times, I wonder, as an Iran expert, whether you think that it's plausible that actually the Americans and the Israelis were thinking about Ahmadinejad as some kind of replacement figure, and whether he had been co-opted by Israel, as that reporting suggested.
Well, there's no clear evidence, right, to suggest that, but I can only tell you about what happened since Ahmadinejad became president. The currency of Iran started to plummet, and it was the start of the economic problems that Iran is facing now. Sanctions began, a lot more broadly, and sort of Iran became known as part of this quote unquote axis of evil, right? So, I mean, certainly what he managed to achieve was to vilify the country, vilify Iran, and make it sort of a pariah state for the West. And, so I cannot give you a straightforward answer, but from what I can see, it is quite interesting, right, to see this development.
Yeah, it was a fascinating story, certainly, when the New York Times published that last week. Just a final question for you then on executions in Iran. There's been a spike in the number of people the state is killing. Among them, they say, are people spying on Iran. What does that tell you then? Is this about the authorities trying to sort of crack down, silence dissent at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. On the one hand, it's showing an even stronger iron fist and brutalizing the Iranian population, but also because of the sort of situation that we're in with the war, it's also to present itself, again, quote unquote, as this sort of very strong country that is, doing all it can to keep the country safe in a wartime setting. So there's two sides of why it justifies these extortion. I mean, this ridiculously high number of executions that it is carrying out right now, and at the start since January, since the massacre of Iranian protesters, it has only continued, where also people who have been sentenced to death don't have the right to their own lawyers. Sometimes they're only given 20 minutes in front of the judge to defend themselves. I mean, these are drastic measures, of course. It is, of course, to instill fear and to show some form of, strength and security, quote unquote. But I believe it also is a sign of its increased insecurity, right?
All right, good to get your analysis. Thank you so much, Ahou Koutchesfahani, talking to us there from King's College London.